Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and a Borger woman is celebrating after an early mammogram saved her life.
Thanks for joining us tonight. She's a wife, a mother, a daughter, a teacher with a family history of cancer who's now a breast cancer survivor.
KMR Local 4's Maya Clark brings us Caitlin Rice's story.
Each year, more than 20,000 women in Texas receive a breast cancer diagnosis. In May of this year, 38-year-old Caitlin Rice of Fritch was diagnosed with stage 0 breast cancer. Going in to get her mammogram before the age of 40 saved her life. Caitlin is a wife, mother, daughter, and teacher.
I think my first thought was I have 2 young children and I didn't want to, leave them without a mom. So my biggest fear was the chemotherapy. Losing my hair, not being able to eat anything, not feeling well all the time, possibly having to miss work because of being ill. And so just to know that that wasn't part of the plan kind of helped out a lot.
Caitlin and her husband shared the news with their 2 daughters, ages 4 and 10.
And my father-in-law had actually passed away from cancer last year. So my 10-year-old knew what was going on, and she was pretty scared. The 4-year-old didn't really know what was going on. She just knew that mommy was sick and was going to have surgery and that she couldn't climb up on me for a while.
Women are encouraged to begin screening for breast cancer at the age of 40, but depending on family history and individual medical history, that can begin sooner, as was the case for Caitlin.
Sometimes we begin for young women even with ultrasounds, diagnostic ultrasounds, and we will get a baseline mammogram if you're over 30. But each of those screening programs begins at a certain time, and then the importance of that is to continue annually so that way we can follow changes.
Having fear going to the doctor is normal, but it could save your life.
They're actually experiencing a symptom in their breast, such as a mass or skin change or discharge or having pain or a lump underneath the arm. That fear can be relieved by having a clear mammogram to make sure it's normal. And then otherwise we will help them, no matter what it is. That is our job, to help patients through that. Caitlin's great example of this is that she had an interest in her health, she knew her family history, and she showed up for the mammogram, and it saved her life.
Caitlin is now a breast cancer survivor, and when her medical team called and told her the news, she only had one thing to say.
Thank the Lord.
Now that Caitlin has beaten breast cancer, she says she has a new sense of gratitude and never takes a day for granted. The best advice Caitlin says she has is to make sure you get your annual checkups, because you will more than likely be fine. Live in studio, Maya Clark, KMR Local 4 News.
All right, Maya, thank you. To read Caitlin's full story, you can always go to our website, and of course, Maya Clark.